what I did learn, I was way too young. But I felt the pressure. It was my first boyfriend. His turned out to be my mother-in-law, was very commandeering, dominating, you know. My parents weren't like that at all, you know, so it kind of took me aback, and I followed instructions. And so we married. I was 20, way too young. Anyway, to the point she was so domineering that she wanted me to wear a dress that she had worn on a cruise, and that was my wedding dress. I didn't want that either, but I didn't speak up. I just followed and didn't speak up. Again, like I said, coming to the States really pulled me back in my personality. So we were married for, I'll say, 11 years. Good thing. Of course, my ex-husband didn't want me to go to conferences and stuff like that. And I mean, and I wanted to, because it was an opportunity to learn and to see who are my customers. I'm not even sure I loved him. I think we were more like brother and sister. I really, yeah, and I didn't know what love was. I mean, I knew my mom, I loved my mom, I loved my dad, but that's a different kind of love. So unfortunately, I went with it. We were married 11 years, and well, he didn't have a job for 2 years, and I kept typing on a Selectric typewriter, an IBM Selectric typewriter, making resumes for him. And he didn't have the motivation to go look for work in that little town. He would have to go to Portland to find his job. I was very fortunate to find it in St. Helens, Oregon. You know, I said, well, you know, you might want to get a job, because we were buying a house and finances was tough, and you know, I felt like I was being held back from my work, and I didn't like that. I was 31, and I was talking to myself saying, do you want to be here when you're 41 in this situation? And we went to counseling. And I talked to the counselor first, and I had talked to her. I had never done that. And she says, there's no need for me to talk to your husband. I know that you don't want this marriage anymore. So that's how we ended. So it was a lesson, because I didn't know myself, and it really wasn't something I wanted to do. And there were so many red flags when I look back at it now. So hang on to making a huge commitment like that. Know what you really, really want, and do you get along with that person? You know, are there a lot of likes similar? Do you like to travel? Do you want to go? Oh, I didn't talk like that about anything, really. Finances can be a big one, a really big one.
Yeah.
It worked out okay. So then we knew each other for 2 years, which was, again, something I wanted after the first time, right? And I got to meet his parents in San Diego. We did a lot of camping. We loved to sing music, although he's 10 years younger than I am.
Oh.
I know. And that's when I found out what a cougar was. I didn't know. I said, why are you saying that to me, you know? I had no idea what a cougar was. And I said, explain to me. Now, this is my friends at work. What is that? And they said, well, you married a younger person, and so I'm called a cougar, very relative. But what was nice is he had an older brother, and we liked the same kind of music. So that was a huge connection for me, you know. So anyway, after 2 years, we did get married, and now, let's see, I'm 38, and I really wanted to have a child. And I thought, well, I know him well enough, we've been married this long, you know, knew each other. So I did have a child. She was born in 1990, and I was 2 weeks from turning 39. So it was a late child. But this was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that isn't any big deal, right? Yeah, so I was very, very blessed and grateful. And she was the love of my life, of course. The problem is, now again, this is a stress in marriage. Where are you working? Where is he or she working? Daycare with children. This is all the reality that starts to come in. It's very, very difficult and stressful. Very, very stressful. And then on weekends, what are you doing? You're filling the refrigerator, you're cleaning house, you're doing what you can. So those were very, very tough years to try to have enough family time. And I had to work 40 hours a week. You didn't have that flex time at that point in time.
Love life. Try to love life. There is so many different, you're going to go through struggles. You're going to go through struggles. That's a given. But it's what you make out of those struggles, what comes out of that, and how much more gratitude will you have when you lose that and you've learned from that. Because I feel like I've had my fair share of struggles. And at the time it consumes you. How do you get out of it? And you're young and you don't know, because you're still living in your parents' house and all of that stuff. Know who you are. And I don't think I knew who I was until I was in my 30s. So you have a little bit of life experiences with people, with jobs, with cars, with life, with politics. And then you start to discover your own characteristics.